He's cemented his place as the greatest tennis player of all time.
Obviously, he's most accomplished player of all time. 53 semifinals is absurd in Grand Slams.
This guy's gonna be amazing, 100% at one point.
Players themselves can't agree. Was the sport at its peak during the Big Three era with Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer dominating every slam? Or is the new generation with Alcaraz and Sinner bringing in a faster, more explosive style of play? Some say the Big Three set an impossible standard, while others believe Alcaraz and Sinner are redefining what's possible on court today.
Anyone who's around 30, right, we've grown up with like an insane era of tennis, with the players in there, you know, the Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Murray, Wawrinka. For ages, we're looking at it going, the concern is, how does it continue?
For me, tennis is really lucky that Sinner Alcaraz showed up, because there was so much talk everywhere that it's gonna have a huge crash after the era of Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Murray, that tennis is gonna go down. Federer and Nadal, they raised it to a new level. Then Djokovic, Murray came. It was an unbelievable era, and the same is happening now. Sinner, Alcaraz are coming. They raised the game to a new level. But I think, to me, it's just normal, and probably in, I don't know, 5, 7, 10 years, new guys are coming around, and now you're saying, oh, you cannot play better than in the French Open finals, but then somebody will come and will even top that.
Do you know Sinner and Alcaraz at 15 are going to be the ones?
Alcaraz, yes. Sinner, no.
Why so?
No, because I was practicing with Carlos when he was 15 or 16 in Rio de Janeiro, and he was very skinny back then, but the practice was so intense. So I was talking to my coach after, and we were saying, yeah, I mean, this guy's gonna be amazing, 100% at one point. And then I was practicing also with Yannick, I think one time, Monte Carlo or something, and you could see that he's a really good player, but and of course possible that he's gonna become a great, but who knows? Maybe yes, maybe no. Luckily, he became one, but it's very different. Sometimes you can see it's so obvious. I think it was with Rafa and with Carlos. And then there are players who are developing a bit later where you cannot see it.
Who surprised you, apart from Sinner? Who's maybe doing far better than you would have thought?
Medvedev. We had one match when we were both, or he's younger than me, when he was 15 and I was 18, and basically it was not even fun for me, because he was just not good enough, and he became number one in the world and won the US Open. So that's simply amazing.
I feel like Sinner and Alcaraz are going to wipe out a lot of generation. You know, it's like what the Big Three did.
I hate it when they do that.
Yeah, and I'm really annoyed that Sinner's not an American. I mean, it's like a German guy, an Austrian. You know, learn to speak German. He lives there at a ski. Shouldn't he have grown up in L.A.? Maybe
I don't know. You know what? I think we can all just be happy that Spain finally has a good male tennis player, right? Like, thank God they waited hours.
But you know what? If, like last year, Alcaraz lost to Vandersloot. I do think...
Try that again.
Yeah.
Do it again.
That's Tracy's tongue twister.
Yeah. Vandersloot. Remember, you know,
Missing a syllable.
And his
Yeah. So if, you know, a major does happen where you get something happen, one quirky one, where Alcaraz happens to lose, maybe, you know, one of them gets injured. There is a window. But I feel like, honestly, if the next 10 majors, if literally nothing happens to Alcaraz and Sinner, what would you put the over-under on them winning the next 10?
All 10?
Yeah.
I mean, you almost have to bite your lip, and you can't believe how good they are. I was sitting courtside today watching Alcaraz, and Lehechka is a good player. That guy is a good player, and he just made him look like it was, you know, just a first-round match.
What's happening now is very interesting, and because it reminds me of the time when Roger and Rafa were dominating tennis so much before Novak came in. I think we're exactly in the same period of time at the moment, with Carlos and Yannick dominating so much, playing all the Grand Slam finals and winning the matches so easily. Carlos didn't lose a single set before the final. Yannick wins most of the matches during the season quite easily. So you have two guys who are really way above the rest of the crowd, way above. It was the same when Roger and Rafa were dominating at the start of their career. Everybody thought they were unbeatable. And I think that's exactly the feeling that most of the players have at the moment, that those two guys are unbeatable. I always tell the story of young Novak coming up and thinking and saying actually out loud, he's going to beat those two guys and be the best. And nobody believed in that. And all the top tens were thinking it's impossible. We probably are looking for that guy, the third one, if he exists, that believes deep inside himself, those guys are not unbeatable because nobody is, and I'm going to be the one defeating them. But I think this player will have to believe himself. I don't think Novak was counting on someone to tell him you can do it. I think deep inside him, he had this confidence that made me think I'm good enough to beat anybody and nobody's going to stop me. Even though those two guys look unbeatable, I will find a way. This is something that people have or don't have. Like most of the people don't. The immense majority of the people will not believe they can beat them. But there is maybe one guy today in this game that has this inside himself. Of course, I would encourage that in him if he believes, but not many guys believe now. If you look at the stats, Carlos is in advance compared to anybody else in the history. He's 22 and a half years old. He won 6 Grand Slams on 3 different surfaces. If you look at the figures, since his first Grand Slam win in 2022 US Open, he won 1 Grand Slam out of 2. He won 6, Sinner 4, Novak 3. That's a rhythm that is incredible. That means 2 a year. He's 22. He's going to play at least 10 more years, probably 15 now because the careers are much longer. If he keeps the same rhythm, he's going to beat the record of all times. Of course, it's early to think about that. He's 22 years old. He has 6 Grand Slams. But if you consider the fact that he's achieved more at that age than anybody in the history, the quality of his game, his physical abilities, his incredible motivation, we can already think about it. Of course, anything can happen. He can get bad injuries. Maybe Sinner is going to find solutions against him in the future. But those two guys are constantly pushing each other. So this is going to be the story of the next 10, 15 years. I just want people to realize that Carlos is on a pace to become the best of all times.
Currently, Novak has 100 titles. Obviously, he got his 100th title at Geneva this year before Roland Garros. Jimmy Connors has the record at 109, and Fed has 103. His question is, do you think Novak considers it important to eclipse these numbers?
I think we're going to say the same thing. I don't think it's important to him, and based on what his calendar was this year. The last 3 tournaments he played were Roland Garros, Wimbledon, US Open. If Novak wanted to surpass those guys, he could. He could go load up semifinals of all 4 majors. So in major tournaments, he's the 3rd best player in the world. And his total is, what's he ranked right now? 7. I think he's generally looked at as the 3rd best player in the world right now. He could go sign up for a handful of 250s and could have this year and probably won 10 of them. So for that reason alone, I don't think those numbers of surpassing Fed and Jimmy Connors are important to him at all.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, I think he's cemented. That's a good question, but he's cemented his place as the greatest tennis player of all time.
I think he's signed up to play that 250 in Greece. The one that moved from Belgrade to Greece.
I did see that, yeah.
That might be the last 250 he ever plays.
Or he might before the Aussie Open.
Yeah.
Play
like Brisbane or something like that. But yeah, he's not going to play enough events to
he might just he might get to 104, but without having to change his calendar at all.
Yes. 109, I don't think he will get to.
No, he's not getting to 109.
9 titles, that's like multiple good years.
People come up to me like, can Yannick and Carlos get to 20? And I'm like, that's just an absurd conversation to be having now. Like, they're good. They're ball for ball, they're like the big 3, the way they play. But to do it for 20 years, that's so hard. And he's never said that about anyone. Maybe, I don't know, maybe keep going and I can sneak one. But on the day after day, week in, week out, they're better than I am. And listen, time is undefeated. Novak has given it hell. It's hard to kind of play part-time tennis, show up, and he makes the semis of the US Open when he kind of hasn't played. He played 1 tournament in May, 1 tournament in July, 1 tournament in September, 3 Grand Slam semifinals. I never made 3 Grand Slams. I was number 1 in the world. I never made 3 Grand Slam finals in a year. He did it in the last 3 months. It's absurd what he's done.